Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week of Women Empowering Women. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. I am a business performance expert and a professional speaker. I am very excited, as always, to be speaking to women from all over the world that are making an impact on our communities, on our world, in their own community. And I'm just as excited today to be speaking to Silvia Young. Welcome, Silvia.
Hi, how are you? It's so nice to see you.
I know it's fun. We get to meet each other virtually. It feels like we're having coffee together.
It does, because we've been talking to each other for a few months, so this is really nice.
So tell me where you reside. Where do you live?
I live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Beautiful. So you're just a jump for me since I'm in Las Vegas.
Oh yes, not far at all.
Not at all. We're actually on the same time zone. Sometimes when I talk to ladies from the East Coast, because it's only 8:30 in the morning here, they're so wide awake and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm just starting my day. So
oh no, I was scrambling this morning, so we're good.
Okay, good. Well, I wanted to tell everybody a little bit about you, and then we'd love to hear about your journey because it's so different when we hear about it from you. So I know that you're an author, a speaker. I love that you wrote Change Maker, designer, activist. You're a survivor of stage 4 endometriosis and infertility, as well as a best-selling author for My Femme Truth. And I think it's called My Femme Truth Scandalous Survival Stories.
Yes.
Perfect. Oh, I'm going to have to hear about that. I was looking up your book and trying to learn more about you aside from what you sent me. And I said, I really like that title. So you'll have to share a little bit about your book with us too. But tell us a little about your journey and how you got here.
Well, so it starts off with the fact that I was misdiagnosed with bad periods for more than 25 years. And I thought that it was just me, that I was just this anomaly of a person that couldn't deal with it. And my doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. And I wasn't covered by insurance. And it was just a very shameful thing. And once I told a friend, because I was living in shame and not sharing the truth about my life with other people. And at one point, I saw a girlfriend at her party, and I had taken all my energy to get ready and go. And I got there and I fell apart. And I told her, I'm chronically sick and I'm hiding my true self. And I remember her reaction really caught me off guard. It was more of a, how dare you? We're friends. And I thought, you know what? You're right. So from that point on, I started to really come into my own and figure out what my femme truth was, because everyone else has been telling me whether I'm sick, whether I'm normal, whether I'm whatever their labels are on me, but only I know what it's like to live in my body. So it took years. And what I started to do was I shut everything else out. And I really came to terms with what I needed to do to get to the other side of this journey, because now I saw it as something that I could change other people's lives, and that I was being selfish with just internalizing. So my first step was to write my feelings out. And I know that's easy for me because I'm a writer. But what I tell people is, when you write it out, burn it. It's not for other people. You just need to get that garbage out of your head, and all your insecurities, everything that anyone said to you that just didn't rub you right, and as well as things that make you just feel crazy. Everyone has them, you know?
Of course.
So just burn it, get it out. Also, cleanse your life. If you start cleaning your life and making things simple, it's amazing the clarity you get. So that was really the first step I had.
Oh, I
If you
love
want to know more, I can go straight.
That's a great journey, and that's gotten you here.
Yes, because I started writing. They started with diary entries. And I also started learning more about my disease. And I realized I wasn't alone. I'm 1 in 10. 1 in 10 girls and women are going through the exact same thing I've been going through my entire life. And it was time to make a change. And even though I am an extroverted introvert, I knew it wasn't about me anymore. Sharing my story it was so much bigger than me. So even though being in front of the camera is not easy for me, and having people know all my secrets, I knew that my feelings would resonate with other people that were going through the same thing. And luckily, I've had the best feedback from my book and also from a play that I'm debuting at UC Davis on October 5th called Gaslit, because that's what's going on. You know, women don't have a voice in our own healthcare. And when we're told we're irrational, we have anxiety, we're emotional, it's just gaslighting.
Or it's PMS, or it's this. It's always a label, and it's always a reason that we're going through something.
Right? When I learned that you shouldn't even be in pain on your period, that I wasn't suffering from bad periods. I actually had a disease called endometriosis, which wasn't caught until it was, you know, sticking and fusing all my organs together. And my first time I heard the word endometriosis was with my fertility doctor. So if I can save girls' fertility and ability, because technically now I'm disabled, it's, you know, it's my life's journey now. So I hope that I can empower women, because once you own up to your femme truth, it's amazing how liberating your life becomes. I cannot believe I didn't step into it sooner. And I really hope that for everyone is to really figure out what their core is, what makes them tick, what makes them happy, and live their best life, no matter what adversity you're facing, because everyone has it. Everyone gets stuck. And whether it's divorce or, it could be a lot of things that we go through. It's just identifying that you're stuck, and then the unpeeling of getting unstuck and then reblooming.
Absolutely. It's so interesting to me. I've interviewed probably about 50 women now on this series that I started. And believe it or not, it's been a year, a little over a year. I was looking today at how, when I started this, it was May 2017. There's always common themes. And one of them that you said, which I love, I think that common themes like this are good. One of the ones that you said that I see over and over again is, I knew and these are similar to your words, I knew that to make an impact, it had more to do with other people than it had to do with me. And that I had to become vulnerable and share my stories because it was bigger than me. And that is and then the second thing you said is the last thing you want to do is be in front of the camera. And a lot of times, Silvia, with women like us, that this is really our life's journey, it really is based on making a difference, letting somebody know, whatever that might be. For some people, it's mental illness. For some people, it's divorce. For some people, it's being able to have the freedom, being a single mom, health issues, whatever it might be. I think that someone like you is needed in our world. And it's interesting to me. Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's interesting to me that we have to go through these journeys, because how can we share if we haven't experienced? So it almost gives it a bit of a meaning. I don't know.
I feel the same way. It's almost a blessing. It changes your perspective into the why me, poor me, into I've been given this superpower and I can change the world. I can change the world for one person. Yes. And that's huge. If I could have, I think of myself at 12 years old, and if I would have known someone like me who isn't scared of such a taboo subject of looking at menstruation and women's health as beautiful and a blessing. I mean, our bodies are amazing what they do. And
they really are.
Right? And having society make us feel shameful is just crazy. So in the time of Me Too and Time's Up, we're here to say there's a lot of sexism in medicine and in society and in government, because no one likes to talk about, ew, but we have to, because this is part of life. And endometriosis isn't something that women feel on their period only. It's a disease of inflammation. So once it's triggered, it can be triggered daily. To imagine feeling like such inflammation, like you're having a heart attack or going through labor daily. You could be at work and all of a sudden you are brought to your knees. It brings this whole level of PTSD. And again, we're talking now mental health. Oh, another taboo. Instead of just owning it and really looking at it and analyzing it. And there's so many resources out there when you do get stuck in your head. For me, it's being creative. That's kind of the who I am. So writing comes natural, creating comes natural. Things like, you know, Silvia is making a wreath.
Which is a great outlet, not just for yourself on the self-care end, but also on the side that now you can verbalize it and put it out there as a speaker, as an author. Now you're a best-selling author. So it most definitely is a way to share, because we always say that if we stay at home in our rooms or in our home offices or in our bed, that's great. But everything that you've gone through, everything that other women have gone through now becomes almost irrelevant, because if you don't share it with other people, it's almost a disservice to them, I guess I could say.
Exactly. You're exactly right. It feels irresponsible in just being a human and trying to end the human rights violations that girls around the world are facing. It's part of such a bigger story. And so if we don't get our voices out there, and, you know, how uncomfortable as it is, you know, my mom says, I can't believe you tell everyone all of this, you know? And
that's so old school though. I want to believe that each generation is getting a little bit better. Do you feel like it is?
I certainly do, especially when my mother tells me how proud she is of me.
Good.
That my dad and my brothers know about, you know, the
details.
Women. You know, my sons know more than they want to know. And I love it, raising feminists. And it made me realize, actually, the reason I married my husband was because he was the first feminist boyfriend I ever had. And you don't realize little things that spark in you, that I think I was always meant to do social justice and things like this. It's just amazing how your journey ends up when you quiet everything else and really focus on your core and what it is that you can give back to society based on your adversity. So I think if we all were to help, especially women, and I'm really, really big on women's circles.
Me too.
The more
nothing against men, love them, them. Definitely, I have a great guy too. But there's something about women's circles. There's something about support, about being there, about uplifting each other. I don't care who you are. I love the word sisterhood, and it just feels like, I mean, look at you and I, Silvia. We've never met in person, and we connected, gosh, probably 5 or 6 months ago. If not more. And look, this is like our lives today. So I think one of the pieces I keep hearing from you over and over again, and I just want to reiterate, is any women out there that feel like you might be alone, or you're going through something that someone doesn't understand, or nobody gets you and you don't have support, you're actually wrong. Just that you haven't found it or searched for it. Because it is out there, and I don't want to get into this topic, but there was a famous person this week that committed suicide and mental illness and all of that. And I think that I want to put out there more than anything, the things that Silvia is doing, the things that she's supporting, the things that she's making an impact, is so women that are watching can go, wait, let me find someone. But yeah, you got to look. You can't.
You have to look.
And I always make that joke. You know how you have girlfriends that are single and they're like, I can't find the right guy. And I make this joke, and it's a fun joke because it's simple. And I could say, so do you think he's just going to knock at your door and deliver a package? Because you kind of got to look for it.
No, you're right. When I talk about, you know, looking in at your core, a lot of that was research. I researched my disease. I researched cognitive behavior therapy. I researched everything I can imagine. I've, you know, documentaries on women's movements, and I had to become an expert on so many topics in order to understand my journey and my adversity, and in order to try and make sense of it. little did I know when I first started this journey that period poverty would be one of the issues that I'm very passionate about, and the tampon tax. And it just shows you that there's gender bias across so many things that we never think about. And so I wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for my adversity. So I just want everyone to actually embrace theirs. It's what makes them beautiful. It's what makes them unique. And I'm happier now, honestly, than I was 20 years ago, because
Yeah.
I feel like this is the me I was always supposed to be.
Yes.
And I feel like there's kind of like a connection now. It's very calming to just kind of have, when I wake up, I have
it's a peace,
a definite inner peace, and a reason, a pathway of what I'm trying to achieve. And I know that, I mean, it's been hard. It's been very hard. Political candidates aren't listening. Doctors aren't listening. I can't even get into schools to teach about reproductive health as opposed to reproducing. It's the sexism is really ingrained in our society. But even one person, one day, I mean, that just brings me to.
I always say exactly the same thing. And I think that goes back to what you said at the beginning. Women like us, or women that are doing things like you, are not out there because they want to be famous or be in front of anything. It's the opposite. We prefer hiding. But the only way to make an impact is that. And we don't go, oh, wait. Yes, of course you want to impact thousands and hundreds of thousands. But if you're sitting if you're standing on a stage and in your audience, one girl chooses to call for help or find a resource in her community, or even reach out to you so you can connect her, then that in itself, you're going, okay, then this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
And if you imagine, we're 1 in 10, and the majority of women, it takes about a decade to get diagnosed because their doctors aren't looking for it, aren't, even really taught about endometriosis. I think they get a half day in their medical school, and it's very outdated information. They still recommend castration and just, hysteria, and want to give you drugs, which is good. I mean, sometimes you need the help of drugs, but there's also other resources. There's excision surgery, which cuts it out at the root. And there's a sisterhood that can help you with learning how to eat better, or yoga, just to kind of, it's such a traumatic disease on your body. So any of these resources give you just even a little bit of percentage back of your life. I want to share that. And I want to have other people share with each other. When I find a resource here, I want to connect them there, just like I think you're doing right now, is trying to connect.
You're getting the word out. It's getting the word out. And you're only one person, so you need almost this army of people to be, hey, it's so interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting to me, because today with technology, there's really no excuse when it comes to finding knowledge. And for me, of course, as knowledge is power. I always also use another example. When all of a sudden you have a funny cough or your throat hurts, you immediately go to WebMD and you type in your symptoms, right? Mm-hmm. Well, how easy is that? So why, and you want to learn about it and you want to understand it. Yes, of course, a lot of times you overkill, and that's not what's wrong with you. But if instead you went online and researched the things, the symptoms, the things you're going through, and found today with LinkedIn and Facebook and different, there's so many groups of support. I bet you that if you typed endometriosis in the top of Facebook, I'm assuming there's lots of potential groups that could support you. And of course, that's not the only avenue, but you Google it in your community, hopefully. I don't know about every community. There's support groups. For example, if you get divorced, you've got to search it out and you've got to look for it. And I think that's one of the things that Silvia, aside from, hey, adversity, accept it, also seek out so you don't feel like you're alone.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And there's one more topic I wanted to touch base on, is what really made me find my voice is I'm not medical. I'm not an elected official, but I'm a patient. Therefore, I'm a patient advocate. And no one can tell me that my FemTruth is wrong because I live in my body. So when I went to seek out other experts, I realized you can't look for a savior. The doctor isn't going to fix us. There's not a politician that's going to fix us. We need to fix us. We need to be our own patient advocate and educate ourselves and really pull ourselves up by our bootstrings. Is that the saying I think my parents used to say? But no one's going to save us. And there's that whole damsel in distress that women are raised to believe. And if you speak out about yourself, you're labeled these aggressive terms. But we need to fight for ourselves because no one else is doing it. 10 years ago, I was 100% bedridden. I couldn't talk like this. I couldn't put a thought together, do my makeup, anything. I was close to being a vegetable in complete pain. And I had to get out of it. So I know that every girl and woman or what have you, anyone facing adversity can get out of it, but it's not easy. It's
of course
really
not, but
not easy.
The journey is not always easy. It's just part of what it is.
But so rewarding because when I say
rewarding
in my book,
for sure. And I don't know that anyone has ever had it easy in anybody's life. Everyone's always got something that they've got to deal with. It would be nice if there was someone out there that had it's not about not having adversity. It's about how you look at it and how you not control it, but manage it. The right word I'm looking for is manage.
Well, I think it's your perspective. Is it your burden or is it your superpower?
Oh, I totally love
and I choose to do the superpower.
I love that.
A lot of women with endometriosis identify as empaths. And before, that was being sensitive was such a negative. And then I think, lucky me, because some of those people don't get to feel the depths of what I feel. I feel the highs and the lows, and I laugh out loud, and I cry when I laugh, and I, get very sad sometimes. And other people don't feel all that. There's a meme I've seen, and it says, I can feel your energy before you walk through the door. So true. But it really takes getting in tune with yourself and then learning how to block energy. Because I think that was one of the biggest lessons too, is not all energy needs to be in your bubble. When you're struggling to get better, it's a hard thing, but you need to identify, your strength in the relationships you have.
Absolutely.
And draw from that. And sometimes it's about creating new relationships.
Sure.
So I have, for example, a ton of endo sisters is what we call ourselves.
There you go. The sisterhood.
It's a sisterhood. And granted, there's a lot of fighting and there's a lot of, it's sisters. There's a lot of forgiving. I blame no one for anything because we're all of this society where we've been shamed and blamed, and we're all trying to make our way through it. So the sooner we just forgive each other, forgive ourselves, and just keep moving on to better ourselves and to keep getting the message out there, the better for all of us, right? The better for the next girl, the next traders that are starting all that cattiness.
Yes.
Which we've been, society has kind of put that on us. So it's kind of it's a new generation, and it's very exciting.
It is. It is. Silvia, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you or learn more about all the amazing that you're doing before we wrap up.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. My website is silviayoung.com. That's SilviaYoung. And you can find me on Facebook. I run a group called Unite Endo, UNITEENDO. And on that, I speak about endometriosis advocacy. I recommend other resources such as support, like Endo Warriors does a great job with support. There's medicals, Facebook groups like Nancy's Nook, which was what I educated myself on for years before I felt comfortable on speaking on it. And on Instagram, I'm at fem_truth. And on Twitter, I'm at Sly Serenity. Anyone can DM me on any of those, and I would be happy to speak with you, private coach you, speak at your school, bring my play Gaslit to your school, author visits, all of the above. I can tailor my speak to fifth grade and to 22-year-olds, because
so
the journey of women's health is so different at every age.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you so much for all the wonderful information. And anybody that's watching, please reach out to Silvia. This is a topic that she is obviously knows a lot about personally, as well as all the knowledge and information that she's learned over the years. So thank you so much, Silvia, for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for watching another week of Women Empowering Women. And I am Galit Ventura Rosen. Have a wonderful day.